Good morning. It's Thursday, July 24th. Here's what we're working on. 5 Canadian hockey players accused of sexually assaulting a woman will learn their fate today.
Rescue operations are underway for 3 people trapped underground at a BC gold and copper mine.
And Bo Bichette's 2-run homer helped the Jays beat the visiting Yankees. Lots of news happening today. We'll bring it all to you as the morning progresses. Could be one of the hottest days of the summer as well, Shelley.
Yay for us.
To a point.
Well, yay, because we're inside and we're cool.
Yeah.
Lots of cooling centers are going to be open today.
Yeah, later on this afternoon. It's one of those days, even though the sun will be shining, probably best to be inside. And if you are outside, please make sure you're taking lots of breaks and staying very hydrated. We'll talk about that heat coming up a little later on. We're going to get you started if you're heading out the door on the 403 through the Hamilton and Burlington area. Traffic is flowing quite well. Let's have a look at a few more cameras and see how we're doing volume-wise. Not aware of any major issues on the 403 or QEW city streets as well. Everything seems to be in good shape. Here's a look at the 403 and the QEW right at the junction. Seeing a little bit of volume starting to fill in through Burlington, but again, nothing too heavy. And a little bit further eastbound through the Oakville area, problem-free. Heading over to the Burlington Skyway Bridge. So far, so good. I guess the earlier you're out, the better, because soon this will be very busy heading Toronto bound over the Skyway. But again, the good news is no lanes are blocked. The construction, a little bit of a visual distraction there, but so far, so good over the Burlington Skyway Bridge. And speaking of the Skyway, here's a look at the Garden City Skyway in St. Catharines, and that is lightly traveled as well. That's it for now. Back to news.
Thank you, Shelley. After a tumultuous 8 weeks in court, an Ontario judge is expected to deliver a verdict today in the trial of 5 former Canadian World Junior hockey players accused of sexual assault. Tessa Bennett joins us live with more on the case. Good morning, Tessa.
Good morning, Rick. Now, the path to today's verdict has not been straightforward, with a mistrial being called within the first week, followed by the jury being dismissed. Dylan Dubé, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, Callan Foote, and Alex Fermenton have all pleaded not guilty to sexual assault in connection with an incident that took place in a London hotel room in 2018. McLeod, who prosecutors have alleged was the so-called ringleader, has also pleaded not guilty to an additional charge of being a party to the offense of sexual assault. The players, who are all now between the ages of 25 and 27, were in London at the time for a gala and golf tournament marking their championship victory. The court heard the complainant, who has only been identified through initials EM, had consensual sex with McLeod in his hotel room, which was not part of the trial. It was what came after. Prosecutors allege McLeod then brought his friends into the room to engage in sexual acts with the woman without her knowledge or consent. The defense, meanwhile, has argued the woman actively participated in the activities and later made up a false narrative to absolve herself of responsibility. In total, 9 witnesses testified, including the complainant, who spoke via CCTV from another room in the courthouse. The judge is expected to begin reading her decisions later this morning, and unlike in a jury trial, she will also lay out the reasons for her findings. I'll send it back to you, Annette.
Okay, thanks very much. Rescue efforts are underway this morning at a gold and copper mine in northwestern BC, where 3 workers are trapped underground. One of the miners is from Ontario. The other 2 are from BC. The owner of the site, Newmont Corporation, is the world's largest gold mining company. It says the workers have enough air, water, and food for an extended period of time. Communication with them was lost after a second cave-in. BC Premier David Eby says Newmont is working with world-leading mine rescue experts.
The company is working with our world-leading mining rescue teams. BC miners are the best in the world. Our rescue teams are exceptional, and they will be working overtime to bring these workers home safely to their families.
BC's provincial government has sent a geotechnical mine inspector to the site and fast-tracked a permit to move heavy equipment from another mine to help in the rescue.
A second-degree murder warrant is out after a hit and run at a waterfront park in Lincoln. Niagara Regional Police are looking for 50-year-old David Ricchetti. He's wanted in the death of 82-year-old Larry Pierce, who died last Friday after being hit by his own vehicle at Charles Daly Park. Police have released these photos of Pierce's gray 2012 Honda CR-V. There's duct tape on the front bumper and duct tape covering the vehicle's back window. The CR-V has a double roof rack and is now missing the front license plate, and police believe the back plate may have been changed. Detectives say Ricchetti was seen driving Pierce's vehicle in Mississauga on Tuesday, and police believe Pierce had been standing in front of his SUV, trying to prevent it from being stolen when he was hit.
A Hamilton officer has been cleared by Ontario's police watchdog in a shooting earlier this year. On March 16th, a 30-year-old man was wounded at a fourplex on Hunter Street East near Hamilton's Claremont Access. The Special Investigations Unit found shots were fired by an officer in self-defense. The shooting happened after a stabbing suspect barricaded himself in a room and then jabbed at police with a knife when they forced the door open. A 74-year-old man who was stabbed in the initial incident died in hospital. The suspect has been charged with second-degree murder.
Two young brothers are missing in Hamilton. Police say 12-year-old Roman Mackin-Lively and 13-year-old Stephen Mackin-Lively were last seen together 10 days ago. They're believed to be together and maybe in East Hamilton or on the East Mountain or in a neighborhood near Albion Falls. Police say there are no immediate safety concerns for the brothers, but they do want to confirm that they're okay.
A Hamilton woman says she was swindled out of nearly $14,000 from her Scotiabank account by imposters.
They knew like every single transaction I made in all of my bank accounts. So immediately I thought, this has to be Scotiabank. How can it not be Scotiabank? They knew everything.
Ashley Hibbert says in April she got a phone call with a Scotiabank caller ID, and the woman who called, as she said, knew all the details of her account and warned that illegal activity was happening and asked her to turn her cards to an out-of-town branch. The woman sent a courier to pick up those cards. Hibbert says she lost nearly $14,000. Now, Scotiabank initially said that they didn't find anything wrong, but now say her case is under a second review. Scotiabank declined an interview with CHCH News. This is one of a number of bank scams involving all banks, but this is the third that we've heard involving Scotiabank. Brampton man is facing a number of charges after a romance scam targeting victims in Canada and the United States. Investigation started after checks were stolen from a Burlington business and deposited into a fraudulent account. Police say that led them to a large-scale romance scam carried out through various online dating platforms. A 49-year-old is facing 6 charges, including fraud and laundering proceeds of crime. If you're heading outside today, bring water because the heat is back on in southern Ontario. Environment Canada has issued a heat warning for many parts of the province starting today, with temperatures expected to reach up to 35 degrees, and with the humidex, they could go up to 44. The heat warning includes Burlington, Hamilton, Milton, all of Niagara, and large parts of Haldimand and Norfolk counties.
At Sportsline, the Blue Jays not only jumped back into the win column, they've grabbed a share of the lead in the American League.
And looks a high fly ball to left. This one's got some carry. It's gone.
The Jays scored 2 runs in each of the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th innings, capped by that 2-run homer by Bo Bichette in the 7th, as Toronto doubled the Yankees 8-4. Chris Bassett struck out 8 batters over 7 and a third innings to improve to 11-4, while the Bluebirds took advantage of 4 errors by New York. Toronto has won 18 of their last 23 games, including 7 of their last 10 against the Yanks. The Jays open a new series tonight against the Tigers in Detroit. They've lost 9 of their last 10. Baseball and hot dogs go hand in hand, and Blue Jays fans proved that this week by setting a new record for eating the most loony dogs during a game. The more than 42,000 fans at the Dome on Tuesday night bought 84,731 loony dogs, smashing the previous record of 76,627 set in 2023. That averages out to almost exactly 2 hot dogs per person. There are 4 more Loony Dog nights this season, the next of which is on August 12th when the Jays host the Cubs. CHCH QEW Cup Showdown continues tonight when the Hamilton Cardinals visit the Welland Jackfish. Welland has won 3 of the first 4 games of this series. The Jackfish can clinch the cup with a victory. First pitch is at 7:15. Hamilton will host Welland in the final game of the CHCH QEW Cup on Sunday afternoon. Ticats are gearing up for Sunday's showdown in BC, and head coach Scott Milanovich says stopping Lions quarterback Nathan Rourke is going to be a challenge.
His ability to create over the last year and a half has surprised me to some degree. Or I didn't know he was that good of an athlete, and I don't think guys give him credit for that.
Hamilton is 4-2, while the Lions are 3-4. Week 8 of the CFL season begins tonight in Calgary, where the 5-1 Stampeders host the 4-2 Montreal Alouettes. The Buffalo Bills opened training camp yesterday, and they're going to be featured on HBO's Hard Knocks this season. Quarterback Josh Allen says he'll try to mind his P's and Q's.
Let's do what we do, and whatever is shown is shown.
So when you try to limit what you say, like fewer F's. And,
yeah. Try not to cuss as much. I mean, I know it's HBO, so I'm sure it goes on there if they wanted to. At the same time, just making sure that my mom, anything that I say in there, my mom would be okay with.
Episode 1 of the 5-part Hard Knocks training camp with the Buffalo Bills will premiere August 5th on HBO and Max. The in-season edition of Hard Knocks will follow the NFC East in the second year of division-wide coverage. 3 local athletes have been invited to the Wheelchair Basketball Canada's Next Gen Camp in Toronto. Hamilton's Charlotte McElroy and Mercy Nyakundi, as well as Simon Mazzy-Keep of Niagara Falls, are at the 5-day camp where they're taking part in a high-performance program. Canadian soccer star Tajon Buchanan took some time away from the pitch to sign autographs and meet some fans at Soccer World in Oakville yesterday. It came as Inter Milan and Villarreal meet today to negotiate a potential transfer that would keep the 26-year-old Brampton native with the La Liga club this season.
Well, let's have a quick look at traffic. The 403 at Waterdown Road, not seeing any problems. A little bit of volume starting to fill in on your Toronto-bound commute. And heading out to the QEW, looking at MTO. This is Centennial Parkway, and not seeing any heavy delays over the Burlington Skyway Bridge. Both directions so far, so good. A little bit of volume Toronto-bound on the downside, nothing too heavy as of yet. And through Oakville, we're doing okay in both directions around the Ford plant. No problems east of Appleby line. Just a few vehicles starting to head out bright and early. You can see from the junction on the QEW, it's filling in just past Guelph line. Current conditions at John C. Munro Airport in Hamilton, 18 degrees, winds pretty light out of the southwest. And speaking of the west, southwestern Ontario, 22 is the current temperature, and in London as well, 19 in Niagara Falls, 22 to the east, 15 up in the nation's capital, and 20 up in Sudbury. Right now, these temperatures feeling a little bit warmer. And speaking of feeling warmer, we're going to have a humidex today around 43 to 44. So heat warning in effect. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Looking at our radar, we are picking up a little bit of precipitation areas to the north, but you can see across the lower Great Lakes, high pressure dominates. It is clear, it is sunny, and it will be for the day. Speaking of sunshine, a very high UV index reading. And speaking of that heat warning, parts of southern Ontario today, tomorrow, even for some areas into the weekend, we'll have our daytime highs up to 35 degrees in some areas, with that humidex ranging from 40 to even 44. Nighttime lows near 21. So if you do know anybody that lives alone, senior citizens, anyone with health conditions, you might want to give them a quick call, maybe a few calls throughout the day. If you can't visit them in person, just make sure they're doing okay. And please take good care of your pets. It's hot for us, it's hot for them. Looking at the morning commute, 21, 23, a little taste of what we're going to feel. It's going to be a warm one with lots of sunshine. That's it for traffic and weather. Back to you, Annette and Rick.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Shelley. Coming up after the break, we're going to say good morning to Emily with a preview of what's to come in Chit Chat. And in business news, the U.S. and EU edging closer to a trade deal as the tariff deadline looms. Good morning, Emily. What's coming up in Chit Chat this morning?
Good morning, guys. Well, we are getting a first look at Disney's Only Murders in the Building Season 5.
Finally.
Yes, looking forward to that.
It looks so good. And remember the cryptic social media buzz from Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks last week? Well, the mystery is solved. We tell you what they are up to.
Okay, that's exciting.
And later on this morning, if you're a rail trail fan, now Annette, I thought of you when I was looking at this because I know you walk and trail a lot.
Yes.
If you want to check out a new documentary that is narrated by Edward Norton, we will have a tease coming up.
Okay.
Right. Very interesting. Cliffhanger.
Yes.
Thanks, Emily.
Well, hopefully not a cliffhanger on the rail trail.
Let's be safe. Let's be safe on the trails. Business news, the Canadian dollar is up 5 basis points, trading overseas at 73.51 cents U.S. Gold is down more than $19 an ounce, and crude is up 56 cents to $65.81 U.S. a barrel. In midday European trading, markets are up in London, Frankfurt, and Paris.
Markets up across the board in Asia, with Tokyo leading gains as concerns eased over the impact of U.S. tariffs. And on the North Americans, they set a new record high in optimism over the U.S.-Japan trade deal. So the TSX, as a result, gained another 51 points. Look at the Dow up more than 500 points, and the NASDAQ closed 127 points higher.
The United States and European Union are reportedly moving closer to a trade deal that would set a 15% tariff on EU imports. This potential agreement comes as President Donald Trump threatens to raise tariffs to 30% on goods from several countries, including here in Canada, starting August 1st. The deal with the EU would be similar to the agreement the United States made with Japan.
Tesla had a double-digit drop in earnings for the second quarter, following a record sales drop. The adjusted net income for the EV company owned by Elon Musk was $1.4 billion U.S. That's down $419 million from a year ago. Sales of Tesla's best-selling Y and Model 3 fell 12%, while sales of the more expensive vehicles, including the Cybertruck, were down 52%. The drop's being blamed on backlash from Musk's political activities and increased competition for electric vehicles.
Rogers Communications saw a drop in second quarter profit, blaming higher costs tied to acquisitions and restructuring. The company reported a profit of $148 million, down sharply from $394 million a year earlier. Restructuring and acquisition costs rose to $238 million, fueled by Rogers' $4.7 billion deal to become majority owner of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. Despite the drop in profits, Rogers added 61,000 mobile subscribers and 26,000 internet customers.
Parent company of 7-Eleven is pushing back after Canadian convenience giant Couche-Tard gave reasons last week for the end of takeover talks between the two. Couche-Tard said it was ending a year-long effort to buy 7&I Holdings because there was no sincere or constructive engagement from the Japanese-based company over a potential deal. 7-Eleven's parent company says Couche-Tard, though, made claims that it calls highly misleading while ending its efforts, adding that it has consistently engaged in good faith. It also says Couche-Tard didn't take competition concerns seriously from the start and did not present a credible plan to handle those concerns.
A new HomeSense location is set to open in Stoney Creek. Lots of people are excited about this. TJX Canada made the announcement on social media. The retailer is moving into the Heritage Green Shopping Centre on Stone Church Road East. While an official opening date hasn't been confirmed, hiring is already underway. This will be the third HomeSense in Hamilton, joining locations at Eastgate Square and in Ancaster. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Shelley in for Brian Woods today again is going to be back with traffic and your 7-day forecast.
Good morning. Having a look at our MTO crystal ball, we're seeing a little bit of volume on the 403 at King Road. Nothing too heavy as of yet. East of Brant Street, Toronto bound, traffic moving towards the camera there. You can see it's starting to fill in and looking good through Walker's Line. A little bit further east through Oakville, we are seeing some volume mostly on the westbound side. And heading over to the Burlington Skyway Bridge, there we go. Toronto bound starting to fill in over the top side, looking good as you make your way from Eastport Drive. No problems there. Here's a look just west of Eastport Drive on the QEW and traffic moving away from us. That is your Toronto bound commute. QEW at Niagara Street, no problems there. And at Glendale, pretty quiet. You can see the sun is bright and it is quite warm. Looking at our surface analysis over the next next 3 days. We do have some shower activity and thunderstorms for parts of northeastern Ontario. This could be severe in nature later on this afternoon, overnight as well. And overnight, there is a 60% chance of some showers and thunderstorms for the rest of southern Ontario. That includes the Golden Horseshoe. You can see if it all happens just after midnight. Won't be too long, and it will not take the edge off of this extreme heat, and of course the thunderstorms all brewing because of the humidity. So here we go, 34 degrees today with a humidex of 43, could even peak to 44. A heat warning in effect for parts of southern Ontario, 22 overnight. Then we hang on to that heat tomorrow as well, 30, feeling like 40 with a chance of showers, and even quite hot on Saturday, pushing close to 40 with a humidex, 17 overnight Friday and Saturday there. Lots of sunshine on Sunday. I'm not going to say cooler, but if you do compare it a little bit, you can see we dropped down somewhat with our temperature and humidex, but still very warm. And then feeling close to 40 again on Monday with some sunshine. Same goes for Tuesday. Wednesday, a little bit closer to seasonal with the temperature daytime high, at least. That's it for traffic and weather. Back to news.
Thanks, Shelley. A Burlington man has been welcomed back to Paris more than 80 years after being told to never come back.
Now we're talking Paris, Ontario. Ken Lloyd, pictured here with the mayor of the county of Brant, David Bailey, got into a wee spot of mischief as an 11-year-old boy and was told by a police officer then to leave town and not come back. So fast forward 81 years. Ken's neighbor wrote a letter to Mayor Bailey asking for clemency. And the mayor wrote a lovely letter back, welcoming Ken to Paris and all of Brant County. There's the neighbors there and his spouse. The long-awaited visit happened in June. So finally, exoneration for Ken at the age of 92, thanks to communication and goodwill. And thanks to the mayor's partner for letting us know about that story, and to his assistant for helping us out. It was neat to talk to Mayor Bailey as well and find out everything that happened to make that happen.
Wow, very interesting story. Yeah. And a happy ending to boot.
Yes.
Stay with us. More to come after the break here on CH Morning Live. Good morning.
Nice.